Hey guys, welcome to today's video. My name is Lucas. Now, this X post over here in front of me has over 2.8 million views and 22,000 bookmarks. And it's called I Want to Build an Agent Today full course. And it's a pretty long article. It took us, me and my community about 30 to 45 minutes to kind of read through and digest. And it basically shows you how agents work and learn how to set it up, how to use it, and how to get it to actually work with different use cases. By the way, guys, before we dive into today's video, I'd love to invite you all to my Discord community, the Creator Network. We're a bunch of designers, developers, startup founders from all around the world, and we get together every single weekday to talk about different tools and topics. So if you guys are interested in joining that, link is down in the description below. So like I said, this article covers 8 different sections. So we have how agents work, we have the 5 workflows that he mentions, building your agent, utilizing tools, giving your agent memory, making your agent work, multiple agents, and then he wraps it up at the end. And if you want to read this article, I'm going to link it to the description of this video. All right, so let's start with the fundamentals. Before you learn how to actually build an agent, it's important to understand that they all kind of run the same loop. And it doesn't matter if it's with Anthropic or with OpenAI or with whatever other type of LLM out there, it's always the same. It starts off with the user input where you as the user has some type of idea or command, and then you click on enter, you submit, and now the LLM thinks, and it thinks whether it has to automatically respond to you based on its database that it has already of research and of context, or does it not know and it has to use some type of tool to find out or to give you the response that you're looking for. So for example, a tool would be like to search the web or to use some type of API like Twitter API to do some research. And once it decides a tool, right, or you give it a tool to use over here in the input, it basically goes ahead and starts executing a plan and then eventually delivers the result. And the reason why I have this arrow kind of pointing back to the LLM thinking is because the result that it gives you is stored in its memory. And another thing to kind of understand before we proceed is the difference between workflows and agents. And so workflows are more deterministic. Like you write the prompt turns into code, and the code determines what happens. And so that same input always gives you that same path. And it is cheaper, but it is just more predictable. Agents, on the other hand, are more dynamic, more flexible. The LLM decides what to do next, right? So this is you as a user talking to the LLM, and then the LLM has all of these different ways of how to eventually give you that solution. And it's much more powerful, but it's just a little bit more expensive, obviously. And going back to our little graph over here, it might call one tool, but it might call like 2 or 3 other tools at the same time. But what I'm trying to say here is that obviously we would love an agent that does a bunch of different things, but we should start off with one simple workflow and only graduate to a full agent when you actually need the model to make those full decisions on the fly. And now before you even think about building your agents, you should understand that most problems don't even need an agent. And now these 5 workflows that were actually documented by Anthropic handle the majority of the use cases. And that first pattern is prompt chaining. And what does that mean? That means that you break a task into sequential steps. So for example, over here, you could generate some type of outline of marketing copy for your website. Then you verify the quality to see if it's good. Then you want to go ahead and write the full content of that copy. And then you can go ahead and translate that output. So you try to fit your tasks cleanly into like little subtasks. And instead of trying to fit everything in one prompt, you trade that for more of an accurate result. And each answer that the LLM will give you would be basically simpler. And that brings us to the second pattern, which is routing, where you classify the input and then you route it to a specific handler. So for example, this can be customer service, this can be billing, this can be more of a technical support. Then pattern 3 is parallelization, where you run the same task multiple times with different sectioning, and then at the end get some type of aggregated result. And then pattern 4 are the orchestrator workers, where a central LLM dynamically breaks down the main task that you give it and assigns subtasks to different other workers. And these subtasks aren't predefined by us, they are decided by the orchestrator. And this is obviously like great for deep research or something like that. More for complex tasks that you cannot really predict the structure beforehand. And pattern number 5 is the evaluator optimizer, where one LLM generates and the other one evaluates and also gives feedback. And if it's not good enough, the feedback kind of loops back and the generator tries again. and it actually keeps on going until the final criteria is met. So these are like 5 different patterns that you have to kind of try first, because most problems kind of fit into one of these patterns. And so the suggestion here is not to jump in right away to actually build out an autonomous agent, but to try one of these patterns first, because maybe your problem would fit in one of these patterns. Okay, so now we have arrived to the section that you all came for. How do you actually build your own agent? And before you write a single line to Claude Code, make sure that you can answer these questions. What is the outcome? What should this agent actually produce? Not help with stuff, something specific. What information does it need? Web search, files, a database, just the user's message. What actions should it be allowed to take? Can it only answer? Can it search, edit files, send emails? What rules must it follow? Tone, format, constraints, what to do when it's uncertain. And if you can answer all of these questions, you can basically build out version 1 in 1 day. Because actually the formula agent equals role plus goal plus tools plus rules plus output format. And that's the blueprint for every agent that you will ever build. And how to start? Well, these are 5 beginner types of agents that you can try out to begin with. Where you have the research agent that gathers information and also summarizes. You have the content agents that write, rewrite, and transform content. Workflow agents that execute repeatable processes. Personal knowledge agents that answer from private documents, and operator agents that take actions in an environment. And in this Twitter article, there's actually a very helpful markdown file that you can just copy and paste, where it has this formula applied that I showed earlier of the role, of the goal, of the tools, of the rules, and of the output format. And I can open up a folder in anti-gravity, and I can then open up the Claude Code extension and create a new session. And I can paste in that prompt from the article, and we can start replacing certain things. So I can say, I want to build let's say instead of an AI agent, a research assistant for crypto projects. And the goal is to find accurate information and summarize it clearly. And let's add 3 different tools like web search, file search, and calculator. And over here, the user will ask things like, we can say like things like, give me a docx file with your research. The agent should have access to several tools like web search, file search, calculator. And these are the rules. It must always like cite sources, not guess, flag uncertainty. And then for the final thing, what to turn this into, the format, we can also add that. And then we can go ahead and click on submit. And as we hit that submit button, we have officially started our conversation with our first agent. And then we get our result. Your crypto research agent is ready. Here's what was built. We have the project structure that is now inside of our folder, and we get a quick little rundown of how it works and how to run it. So npm run dev to start the agent, and then we can type different types of keywords like research Ethereum or what is Solana's tokenomics. And the agent will search the web, crunch numbers, and produce a structured report in this docx format that we can export. Now, I'd love for you guys to pause this video and try it out with these different examples. And if you create something cool, please feel free to share it in the community, in the Discord community. Link is down in the description below. And if you need help brainstorming on that initial formula, you can obviously ask Claude or ChatGPT to help you fill out the words. So for example, you can paste in this text like this. And notice that over here, I'm writing, help me design an Anthropic agent. That's because OpenAI and Anthropic are a little bit different. So it's just best to kind of mention Anthropic. And if you want to learn more on how to do this for OpenAI and Codex, please let me know down in the comments below. So over here, we can just delete this period and say, help me design an Anthropic agent that converts my notes into a newsletter article. Help me fill out the following. Then we can go ahead and hit enter. And so we get this new markdown file. My goal is convert rough notes, bullet points, or video script leftovers into a polished newsletter article that matches my voice. And then we have these different points that you want the agent to be able to do. And so I'm going to just copy this and open up a new empty folder. This time it's going to be called newsletter agent. Open up that Claude Code extension, new session, and we're going to paste this in here. And going back to the formula, we can see that all of the different aspects of that formula are here. And so let's go ahead and click on submit. All right, so now everything is created. We get a full breakdown. And I can click on some of these markdown files and I can see that these are like different skills that it created. So newsletter agent system prompt, you are writing engine behind No Code United, which is like the brand that I used to have for my community. And now it's called CREATORNTWRK. A newsletter for builders who use AI, no code tools, and design to ship your products fast. So who you write for, your voice, what you never do, output format. And again, you can like create these different results. And if you see certain things that you don't like, you can ask the agent to change them in these markdown files. And so I can give it a text file from one of my YouTube videos as a transcript from one of my YouTube videos. It's going to start asking me to allow for me to allow the agent to use different tools like web search. So I'm going to say yes. And then it created the newsletter saved to output.md. And you can see the subject line, you can see the preview text, you can see the estimated read time. And we have basically all of the content that I was talking about in that video in this one text. And again, you can transform the style of the text. You can transform the output. Instead of it giving it to you in a markdown file, you could say, give it to me in a blog page type of format in HTML and CSS. So I can say, give me the output in HTML and CSS in a minimalist black and white Notion style page with sticky scroll. And you can tell it to update that markdown file, that initial markdown file. And so eventually we get this nice little black and white style with the kind of chapters with this nice sticky scroll effect. And again, a potential here is that you can eventually create your own blog page and automatically like get it to get your script from YouTube and then publish blog posts every time that you post a YouTube video. This is actually something that I might want to try on my own. All right, and now the next thing here is tools. And you might think that using many tools is a good thing, but you're wrong. Better tools makes a smart agent, and fewer tools makes an agent more reliable. And to understand what a tool really is that it's something that an AI can't really do by itself, like search Twitter for a specific keyword or connect to your calendar or to your email and send an email. So before you add any tool, you have to ask yourself this: does this task that I'm trying to do require external data or some type of real world action? Because if yes, then you would need a tool, but if not, you don't really need one. And so an example here is that no tools needed. Rewrite this email. You get an email and you want to like write something down. You're very bad at writing, like I am. So you select your writing and you copy paste it into an LLM and it can write it for you. It doesn't have to search the web for that. Similar to summarizing text or explaining a certain concept, it can do that inside of its own boundaries. When you need a tool is, what's the weather right now? Searching latest news that are happening right now, calculating compound interest, advanced calculations, and pulling data from a specific spreadsheet in a different place like Notion or like Google Sheets. And a great exercise here is by giving this piece of text to an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude and just saying like, hey, this is my goal, this is what I want to do, and here's what I think the agent needs to do. So you can give a list of different actions, and then you can ask it these 3 questions. Which of these require tools? What tools should I create, and keep them simple and minimal? And it'll then return a tool list, tool description, and inputs required for each tool. And something that's also very important is that you want to tell the agent when to use a tool. And you don't want to say something like, tool calculator. You want to say, use this tool whenever math is required, and never guess calculations. And now the next topic here is memory, where we have 2 types of memory: short-term memory and long-term memory. Where short-term memory is more conversational, where things have been said so far. So as you can see over here, there's like a nice little conversation. Hello, it's experts to write. This is some weird text over here, but it's representing a conversation, right? This is like a short-term memory that this AI has from this conversation. And then we have long-term memory, which is external knowledge, meaning coming from database, coming from documents, coming from resources, from PDFs. You can upload these different documents, and this is like external memory that can live on. And this is a good little text also to use with ChatGPT or with Claude, is to let AI help you decide if you actually need memory, external memory. So again, with the role, with the goal, and with these questions, does this agent need conversational memory or external knowledge? And if yes, explain why. If no, explain why not. And needless to say, if your agent works without any memories, you don't really need to add memory. And now making your agents work in real life, because in real life, we don't properly write, please clarify why the IRS sent me this bill. We say, why the F did we get charged this by the IRS? Like, what the heck is happening, right? We chat like a normal person. So it's good to create realistic user inputs that are messy, vague, and real world style, so that the AI agent can understand these inputs. And if it goes wrong, you can also debug it. And if it goes wrong, you can also debug it by saying, here's my agent, here's what I asked, here's the output, what went wrong, how do I fix it, be specific, and then you can further implement those changes afterwards. And one of the last topics that you guys must be very excited about, multiple agents. I'm pretty sure you're thinking, all right, I can build one agent, I can test it out, I can fix it, I can make it better and better as time proceeds. And then I want to have another agent that does something else, and that these two can communicate with each other. And then we have another agent that does the same thing. In this situation, it is best to just hold your horses and start as simple as possible. You want this first agent to do its job very, very well. And you only want to add more agents when the task is clearly split, one agent is struggling, and the roles are very different. So you need different agents when you have different skills. Like for example, we created our agent that creates these different newsletters from transcripts. And obviously it's a nice design and all, but it's not really the design style that I have for my own website. And in that case, I would need another agent that is more trained in the front end design and also updating my website. So I would need for this agent to transfer that information to that other agent to then publish the context of that newsletter to my real website. So that comes to number 2 over here. Clear pipeline, input, analysis, write, output. In my newsletter case, it's input and creating context. And then the second part of that pipeline would be to design the page based on that context and then deploy it on my website. And then the third one, which is different permissions, right? You have private data, more financial data in your company, and you want to have it in for your own agent, and then your team, for example, your design team, your development team can have their own types of agents that they use in a team to execute different commands. And again, here's another great prompt to actually decide if you need multiple agents. So I built an AI agent that does this. Here's its job. Should this be a single agent or multiple agents? And if multiple, what roles and why? And eventually the main goal here is for us as a user to have a main agent, which is our supervisor or our orchestrator, to talk to the other sub agents that do specific tasks. But again, don't start too crazy, start very simple, and then eventually just refine that and build off of that. And eventually you get an efficient, sustainable multi-agent workflow that you can use for your own project that you're working on. But anyways, thank you guys for watching today's video. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you've built any agents, please feel free to let me know also in the comments below. And also feel free to join our free Discord community. Like I said before, we get together every single weekday to talk about different topics, different tools and such, and we'd be happy to meet you. So thank you so much for watching. Like always, see you next time. Goodbye.